Well, good morning, everybody. My name is David Landry. I am a financial aid counselor here at the University of Houston downtown. I know we got some people over on Zoom through this camera. We have people here live. I am behind this plexiglass. I will remain behind the plexiglass. I am 100% vaccinated, but I want to respect everybody in the room, okay? So we're going to do a presentation on paying for your education, all right? Transitioning from community college to UHD. So if you are a transfer student, this is definitely going to apply to you. It is going to be a little bit intensive as it relates to UHD. Much of this knowledge you already know because you have borrowed financial, or not borrowed, but you've used financial aid before. However, this is going to be a little bit more intensive for UHD's financial aid purposes, okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, so let's get started. Now, if you have a smartphone, pull it out because we're going to play a game. So let's start with a couple questions, okay? If you have a smartphone, feel free to pull it out, point it at this QR code. This QR code is going to pull up, and you don't have to download an app or anything like that. It's going to go directly to this game at mentimeter.com, okay? There's just a couple questions about financial aid, just kind of ask you, just like really quick, easy questions. So if you're at home, if you're able to point your phone at this, please participate. So yeah, we're going to play a game. So let me know when everybody in here has done it. Of course, I can't see our Zoom watchers if they have done it. But if I can get a resounding thumbs up from everybody. Okay, perfect. All right, so let me click on this link. Boom. And hopefully it worked. Okay. Yes. Okay, I can see people. Okay. Financial aid transfers from school to school automatically. Okay, so we got people that said yes. We got some people that said no. We didn't have anybody that said wait. Okay? All right. I'm going to move on. Now, you mean financial aid doesn't transfer? Wait, what? No, financial aid does not transfer. Okay, if you answered that, then you were correct. Financial aid doesn't transfer between colleges. One of the misconceptions is I have, graduated from my previous institution and I'm coming to UHD. I don't need to do anything else. It's going to automatically follow me because I already submitted a FAFSA, right? That is incorrect. You have to inform us when you are leaving, and you have to make sure that the school you're transferring to is listed on your FAFSA, especially if you're transferring in the middle of a school year. So if you're leaving your institution in December and going to a different one in January, you will definitely need to make that known. What do you have to do? Okay, update your FAFSA application. How do you update it? Well, you go to this website, fafsa.ed.gov, and add our school code, which is 003612. Please make sure that it's this number. The reason why I say please make sure is because there's one other school that has 003652 as their school code, and they are University of Houston main campus. You would be surprised at how many students that we get that say, I submitted my FAFSA to you months ago. And then when we go to check, guess what we see? University of Houston main campus on their FAFSA. And we have to tell them, you got to log back into that FAFSA application and make sure to add 003612 as opposed to 003652. Now, be sure to update it for the appropriate award year. We are moving into the 2021-2022 school year, fall 21, spring 22, okay? Especially when we're coming out of this semester in December, when we have the new FAFSA for 2022-2023 available. Oh, that's going to be chaotic. We look forward to that every single year because there's two FAFSAs, okay? And so the logic is, oh, well, I'm coming to school in 2022. I'm going to type in that. But if you're coming in the spring, are you coming in spring 2022, which starts in January, or are you coming in August of 2022, which is the fall semester of the 22-23 school year? I know it's all complicated, but trust me, that is what we're here for. Please, and we'll give information to call us and contact us, okay? So, moving right along. And that's why I say, if you're unsure, contact our office. Our priority deadline is April 1st. Our priority deadline is April 1st. Our priority deadline is April 1st. Thank you. Okay, if you are a FAFSA student. Now, if you are a TASFA student, your priority deadline is January 15th. Okay, but we always lean toward the majority, and the majority of students that we receive is FAFSA. But we understand that students do submit TASFA applications. So I want to make that known because I don't have it presented here. Now, to apply for admission and financial aid at the same time, okay? Please do it at the same time. Why are you asking me to do it at the same time, David? Because without being admitted officially to a university, we cannot award you financial aid. Let me say that again. If you are not officially admitted, meaning you have not received a admission letter, congratulations. Let me see your name. What's your name, sir? In the yellow? Leon. Congratulations, Leon. You've been accepted to the University of Houston. If you've not gotten that letter, then we cannot award you financial aid. You can fill out the FAFSA, but if you've not been officially admitted, we cannot award you financial aid. Now, when you're doing all this paperwork and you're moving and you're grooving and you're getting ready to come here, there's one other thing related to financial aid that is super important. I cannot stress it enough. You have to cancel your aid at your previous institution. Okay? We get a lot of students that come and they say, hey, I'm ready to receive financial aid from you guys, but I haven't heard anything. We go on our computer, type, and we see, oh, well, you still have a financial aid award letter from ABC University. Well, I'm not at ABC University anymore. Why do I still have financial aid there? Because you have to cancel it. You have to get on the phone, on the email, snail mail, passenger pigeon. You have to let them know, I am not coming back to that institution. Thank you guys for your time and letting me be there. I got my associate's degree. I'm walking out and I'm going to get my bachelor's. Okay? So you have to do that. It's very important. Now, a pending semester award at another school can affect your annual award limits and your financial aid eligibility at UHD. That is why we tell you to do that. Federal law mandates, the Department of Education mandates that a student cannot receive financial aid at two institutions simultaneously. You have to only have one school that you're receiving financial aid from, okay? Follow up with that institution that financial aid was canceled, not just at the institution, but with the Department of Education. Many institutions, two-year institutions, they'll say, oh yeah, we put in your paperwork. We got your revision request form. It's all good. No, make a specific request for them to check that the Department of Education has received your cancellation request so that we, the University of Houston Downtown, can get on our computer and go to the Department of Education website and see that that change has been made. Yes, there are a lot of moving parts to this. We want to make sure we're not breaking the law. Thank you very much. All right. Now, follow up with us, okay? The way you follow up with us is through UHD Gator Mail. If you come from a previous institution and you're communicating with us through your regular mail, like Yahoo, Gmail, Hotmail, AOL, whoever still uses AOL, and you're communicating with us, that's wonderful. However, we have a standard order of procedure and protocol in place where we communicate with you through Gator Mail. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I don't like to use Gator Mail. I like to use my personal email. That's fine. We do not want to take that right away from you, which is why we ask you to communicate with the IT help desk to where they can forward all of your Gator Mail emails to your personal email. But if you choose not to do that, we will continue to communicate to you through Gator Mail, and we will let you know, hey, Congratulations. We'll send you an award letter there. We're going to send you updates on financial aid there. It's going to go here. It's not going to go to your personal email. Okay? So either make arrangements to have it forwarded to your personal email or get very well acquainted with UHD Gator Mail. Submit all requested documentation as soon as possible. Now, you might be thinking, okay, requested documentation, what does that mean? Verification documents. When we're asking for verification documents, we are going to make sure that all this is done before we award you, okay? Because we want to operate in the vein of giving you the most possible financial aid. Without verification documents in place, not only we can't award you, but we won't be able to guarantee that you're getting all of the financial aid that you deserve. Now, processing can take up to 3 weeks after completion of your financial aid, depending on the time of year. This part is very important as to right now. Okay? We are a week before classes. We're less than a week before classes begins. Okay? This is probably the most busiest time of year for UHD financial aid department. And I know everybody else is going to say, oh, we're busy too. No, financial aid is busier. It's busy on steroids right now. We are answering emails. We're taking phone calls. We are communicating with students at the front desk. So I would argue to say that financial aid is the most busiest right now, okay? So it's going to take up to 3 weeks. It might take longer. Please bear with us, and especially since we're in the middle of the panorama, all right? So keep that in mind. Accepting awards. Now, let's say you get all your documents done. You're communicating with us through Gator Mail. You're sending your documents in. You're making sure you cancel your financial aid at the other school. You got to accept awards. Now, the good news is grants are automatically accepted, okay? Your Pell Grants are automatically accepted. Your other institutional grants are automatically accepted. But loans are considered a form of financial aid. Work study is considered a form of financial aid. Those have to be accepted. And then we're also going to talk about Texas Grant, which is a state grant, which makes it a little bit interesting. And you also have to accept that as well. But we're going to talk about that later in the presentation. Now, to accept your awards, you got to go to our website, uhd.edu, and click the link, My UHD. My UHD is the hub, it is the portal, it is the access point for your financial aid. You're going to click on the tile or square that says Scholarships and Financial Aid. A lot of students get excited. They see the word financial. They think money. They think it's attached to financial aid. Whoa, slow the bus down. Student financials is a totally different department. And we're going to explore what that difference is later in this presentation. Now, as I stated, most grants will automatically be accepted, but we'll have to accept other awards such as loans. Okay, if you're planning on using subsidized and unsubsidized loans, you've probably heard of that. You got to accept them. Now, here are the different grants. Okay, and remember, this is information that's a little bit more in depth than what you would get if you're a first-time in college student. So I'm operating under the assumption you already know what a Pell Grant is, but I'm giving you this extra information. This 2021-2022 awards vary from $672 to $6,495. Now, this is for the entire year if a student's EFC is less than this number. That is the magic number. Now, going back to Financial Aid 101, EFC, expected family contribution, that's the number that the FAFSA spits out after you complete the FAFSA, okay? It's going to spit out this EFC number. Pay attention to that number. A lot of students don't, and they wonder why, oh, I didn't get this much, but my friend over here got a bunch of Pell Grant money. Look at the EFC. That is why. So if your EFC is less than this number, so if it's this number, that means that you will not receive any Pell Grant funding. If it's this number or greater, okay? That is the threshold of receiving Pell Grant funding. Now, federal SEOG, that is for students who are also Pell eligible. It is a one-time award. So if you ever see a federal SEOG grant on your profile, congratulations. That's the only time you'll ever see it in your entire college career. but it's for students who are Pell eligible, and it's to help to give you an extra little boost. I'm going to skip over Texas Grant because I want to save that for last. TPEG, or the Texas Public Education Grant, funding is limited, just like SCOG is limited, and it's available to both FAFSA and TAFSA students because the Texas Public Education Grant is a state-funded grant, okay? The MDTU, or the MDTG, this is the only grant that FAFSA and TAFSA graduate and undergraduate students are eligible to receive. If you notice the acronym on the end, the U stands for undergrad, the G stands for graduate. Now, I saved this one for last because Texas Grant has a lot of exceptions to it. It is available for TAFSA and FAFSA students, but there are certain qualifiers. So the specific requirements must be met to be eligible. What are the specific requirements? To receive Texas Grant, if you're a transfer student, you gotta have two things: an associate's degree and a 2.5 GPA, okay? Associate's degree and a 2.5 GPA. Now, I don't know if I have any freshmen, first time in college students in here or in the Zoom, but there are a bunch of other qualifiers if you're a first time in college student. But for the sake of time, I'm gonna deal with my transfer students and say, if you got a 2.5 GPA or above and you have an associate's degree, Texas Grant, you may be eligible for it. Funds are limited. So if you already know that, please reach out to us very, very soon. Don't wait. All right, loans. Let's talk about loans. Many people don't think that loans are a form of financial aid. In fact, they are. The definition of financial aid is any funding you receive from any source other than your relatives, okay? So if you get a gift from a family member, your dad, your mom, your grandma, happy you graduated, that is not considered a form of financial aid. That's gift money. But loans are considered a form of financial aid. Everybody's heard about subsidized and unsubsidized. The only main difference between the two is that the federal government pays the interest on a subsidized loan while you're in college. The unsubsidized, the federal government does not pay interest on the loan, and it will accrue interest, okay, from the moment it's dispersed. The interest doesn't start accruing on a subsidized loan until after you've graduated. So keep that in mind. Parent Plus loan. This is for students who may not have, so remember we talked about that EFC? If your EFC goes over a certain amount, that $5,000, that you're no longer Pell eligible, there are some students, believe it or not, that have EFCs that go way high. And so they're not even eligible for subsidized loan funding, okay? That's where the Parent Plus loan comes in. Now these are loans that are borrowed by the parent. The subsidized and unsubsidized is gonna have the student's name on it. Parent Plus loan, that's for parents that have, because they do a credit check on the parent. So this is for the parent to help their student to borrow when they don't have enough money to pay for college. It is credit-based, as I said, and there is a separate application that must be completed at that website, studentloans.gov. Now, if the parent is approved, they also have to fill out the parent borrower authorization form that you can download from our website. Finally, if you are a graduate student, there's also a graduate or professional plus loan option available to you. And you would borrow that on your own because you are once you become a graduate student, you're considered an independent student, and so it would do a credit check on you, and you'd be able to borrow that. Now, scholarships. Everybody loves free money. I love free money. You love free money. You love free money, right? Now, this is the website for all scholarship information. So please, if you got to take a picture of it, write it down, go to this website. We get a lot of students that ask, what kind of scholarship opportunities you have available? What kind of scholarships are there? Please go to this website. Please take some time out of your day. If it's 5, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, carve it out of your day and go to this website. It's a lot of rich information there, okay? Not just financially, but just information that you should just have in the back of your mind at all times related to scholarships. We here at UHD divide scholarships into 3 categories: institutional, departmental, and private and external. Very self-explanatory. Institutional, these are scholarships that are awarded by the institution, by UHD. Departmental, each department, right? College of Public Service, College of Humanities and Sciences, College of Art, all the different colleges, right, or departments have scholarships within them, okay? And then private and external. Private and external are from entities that exist outside of the university, externally, and are also privately owned and operated. But we partner with them and we vet their scholarships. And so when we include them on our website, we are telling you these are legit. Because you hear about scholarships all the time. It's like, oh, pay us $500 and we'll make sure you get $1,000. That's lies and scams. You don't want lies and scams. You want authentic, real scholarship opportunities. Go to this website. If you have more in-depth information or in-depth questioning, feel free to talk to Dr. Rashana Mitchell. She is the Assistant Director of Scholarships, and her email is here, mitchellr@uhd.edu. mitchellr@uhd.edu. Now let's talk about disbursement, okay? Now, disbursement definition is the process of financial aid department releasing your aid to pay towards your tuition and fees. Many people have the misconception that disbursement means, oh, my refund is in my account. So when does disbursement happen? Most students are thinking disbursement equals money in my account. That is not necessarily the case. We want to dispel that misconception. Disbursement is when we release your aid to pay towards your tuition and fees. Before that release happens, every student on campus has a temporary 7-day hold before those funds can be dispersed. Now, why do you think that we do that? Not to say that you all would do it, but we've had students who receive financial aid in the past. They get their money, and then they mysteriously disappear. And they use their financial aid to buy cars and computers and all kinds of things. But we know that you're not going to do that, right? You're trustworthy. So we put a 7-day hold on your account temporarily to make sure that we are receiving a student who is interested in furthering their education and not just getting money and leaving the institution. Now, you are responsible for any outstanding balance if your financial aid does not cover 100%. So let's say person A, okay, has a tuition of $1,000. We're gonna make it super easy. $1,000. And they receive financial aid to cover $999, leaving them with a $1 balance. If that student does not pay the $1 balance, they owe that, okay? But if they have financial aid to cover $1,001, that means that there's an excess, and that $1 will be sent to you as what's called a financial aid refund. Okay? So that's where that comes from. So keep that in mind. If you have enough financial aid to cover the 100% or more of your balance, wonderful, congratulations. If you do not, if it only covers 99.99999% repeating, you are responsible for that 0.00001%, and you have to pay it, okay? Don't think, oh, I only owe $10. They're not gonna. And that's all I'll say about that. Refunds. Everybody loves refunds, right? We get them, we use them to buy our books, buy our supplies. If we need to do anything educationally related to further our education, that is what we use the refund for. Now, here's how the process works. We, the university, partner with an organization called Bank Mobile. Bank Mobile sends this lime green envelope to your house. It's a refund selection kit. It's going to have a couple things in it. It's going to have your name. It's going to have your information in it. And one other thing, I apologize. It's going to have a code. You're going to go to their website, refundselection.com, and type in that code. When it opens up, it's going to say, what school are you going to? You're going to put in University of Houston downtown, and you're going to say, if you are anticipating a refund, where would you like that refund to be sent? You have 3 options. The first option is I would like to partner with Bank Mobile and set up a Vibe account. They're going to send you a handy dandy card. It's going to look like a debit card. I think it either has a MasterCard or Visa logo on it. It's going to have your name, and you'll be able to use that card to buy things online, go into stores and use it, but it's not a debit card in the sense of you can refill it, okay? It's going to have your refund money on that card. The second option is you can set it up to where it goes directly into your bank account. So you can skip over that whole Bank Mobile Vibe mess and go to your bank account, all right? The third option, and not many people choose this, but there are some people that do, and we have it available for them. You can have a wonderful paper check with your money mailed to your house 6 to 8 weeks after your disbursement. I don't know who does that, but we have that option available. And we always try to steer students towards the private bank account option because we know that students have their phones and they check their account incessantly. Okay? So if you have an account with Bank Mobile from a prior institution, you have to go into refundselection.com and change the institution. So you can't have 2 different Bank Mobile Vibe accounts. You have to change it to UHD, okay? So keep that in mind, because we get a lot of students that come from previous institutions like, oh, I already got Bank Mobile, I don't need to set it up. Yes, you do. You better set it up because that money is not gonna go anywhere. And if you wait long enough, they will cut a check, and 6 to 8 weeks later, you're gonna have a check with the money in your mailbox. Now let's talk about some other departments that are not financial aid, but you still need things from them. Cashiers. On our campus on the 3rd floor, there's a row of plate glass windows where you can go to pay. Remember we were talking about that $1,000 and then you pay $900, financial aid pays $999, right? That $1, you're gonna go to Cashiers and pay that $1. Okay, that's as simple as I can make it. You go to Cashiers and pay that $1. They accept and process your payments for tuition, fees, and miscellaneous items. So let's say you, heaven forbid, you turn in a library book late and you incur a late fee. You don't pay the library. They're going to give you a receipt. You take it downstairs to the 3rd floor and you're going to pay Cashiers. If you get a parking citation on campus, you're not going to pay the parking office. You're going to go up to the 3rd floor and pay Cashiers that parking citation. Now, processing tuition verification letters. This is for students who have what they call tuition waivers. There are disability waivers. There are people who are ever in the foster care system or adopted. They have certain waivers from the government, from the state of Texas, that allows them to go to school for free. But in order for them to go to school for free or have their tuition exempted, they have to turn in paperwork to the cashier's office. Okay. Now, student accounting. Another different department from financial aid and from Cashiers. They handle billing and they handle processing of student refunds. What we do, UHD's financial aid department, we make sure that your financial aid is processed, and then once we process it, we send it to student accounting to give you your refund. So it's kind of like if it was person A here, person B here, and then you. Right? So person A is financial aid. We have your financial aid, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato. We pass it to person B over in student accounting, hot potato, hot potato, hot potato. They create a refund for you, whizzle, wazzle, boom, and then they pay it to you. So we get a lot of students that ask us, where's my refund? And we tell them, we don't have it. Contact student accounting, please. And we're not doing that to be mean, but this is how the process goes. Posting of exemptions, we talked about that in the last slide. Collecting of delinquent student accounts. Now, what happens if you don't pay that $1? Remember that $1 from the $1,000, the $999, your financial aid covered, but you got $1? Let's say you leave the school. Oh man, school's hard, I'm gonna go get a job. You have that $1 sitting in your account, and it's sitting and sitting and sitting. Eventually, it's going to go to collections. That is what that is. And then finally, emergency book loans. Emergency book loans, the way that I explain it to a student is, if you're anticipating on receiving financial aid, refund, that refund is what you would use to pay for your books. But what happens if it's something that goes awry, you're still waiting on your financial aid, it's coming through, but you still need to start reading your books before you go to class? Go to student accounting, they can help you to set up an emergency book loan. It's not a loan in the same sense of a subsidized or unsubsidized, it's more of a voucher, okay? Think of it like that. Payment options. Now, if you are Big Bank Hank or Big Bank Henrietta, you can pay in full. You can walk up to the cashier's office with a wad of cash and pay all of your classes up front. I don't know anybody that does that in 2021. There are people that do, but very few. But you can also pay with a personal check, money order, debit or credit card, or electronic check, but that's online only. Now, the other option that's much more appealing is financial aid. Why? Because you're not coming out of pocket. You're using financial aid. You're using federal and state funding to cover your tuition fees. Now, the way we do it, we make it super easy. We do all of your disbursement for you, okay? And not only that, but we make sure that we apply it toward your outstanding tuition and fee charges, okay? So when you do the FAFSA or the TASFA application, type, you send it in, we get it. Oh, this person is eligible for this, boom. And then we make sure that it's submitted to the Office of Student Accounting, and they receive, oh, this student has more money than what they needed to pay for classes, let's give them a refund. That is the process. And I know that I'm oversimplifying it for time, so if you have any questions, feel free to let us know. Payment plans. If you don't have it all up front, if you're not Big Bank Hank, if you're not Big Bank Henrietta, and you can't pay it all up front, don't worry, we got options. Installment plans. We will break up your balance into 4 or 5 equal payments to help you to pay that tuition off. Secondly, we have what's called an emergency deferment. Let's say you are receiving financial aid, but we still need documents from you. We have a thing called emergency deferment where the university is basically fronting you the first month of payment to help to hold your classes in place so that they're not dropped. And number 2, gives us time to fully process your financial aid documents. Emergency deferment, that sounds like what you need, set that up. And then finally, we have short-term deferment plans, okay? So that's another form of an emergency deferment, and you can contact the Office of Student Accounting for more details on short-term deferment plans. Now, these options are available for you fall, spring, and summer. Now, you know there's 2 other terms, right? There's winter, and then there's May Mini, which is right before summer. We ask that for winter and May Mini, you pay full out of pocket for those classes. Usually because you're only able to take 1 class, and we can't award you for just taking 1 class financial aid. So we ask that, hey, you pay for that out of pocket, and you should be good to go for winter and May Mini courses. Installment plans, like I said, breaks it up into installments. The number of installments is determined by the date the installment plan is established. So the longer you wait, the less amount of installments you have. So it's better if you know, hey, I'm gonna have to pay some out of pocket, set it up as early as possible. That way you'll have more time to pay it off. The total of tuition and fees is divided by the number of payments available, and the first payment has an additional setup fee of $24. Emergency short-term deferment. Now, the emergency deferment plan, I kind of talked about, like I said, but the short-term deferment is available for non-resident and international students. So if you're not that, if you're a student that is a TASFA or FAFSA student, that's you. But if you're a non-resident, right, or if you're an international student, you're using the short-term deferment plan. And like I said, it defers the initial minimum installment for a later date, and it allows us time to kind of get your documents in order, okay? That's what that emergency deferment is. And you don't pay anything up front. You don't pay anything up front to set up an emergency deferment plan. You can do this online, but the short term, you have to come in person to set it up with Cashiers. Payment deadlines. Payment or payment arrangements for registration must be made through my UHD or the cashier's office by the due date. And there's a whole calendar here, uhd.edu/academic calendars. Please check the academic calendars. Those dates are they are hard and they are and they don't change for nobody. Okay, very, very few exceptions, like during the panorama, they will change dates to accommodate people, okay? But uhd.edu/academic calendar, that is where you're gonna wanna look at those dates. Please, please, please. And if full payment or appropriate payment arrangements are not secured by the due date listed, your classes will be dropped for non-payment. So remember that $1,000 and you pay $999, you got that $1 left. That's not 100%, y'all. If you have that left on your account, you will be dropped. And I know that sounds very insensitive, but that's why I'm letting you know now before classes start, because there's going to be a lot of sad singing and flower bringing on Monday when people come into the office and say, oh, I only had $50 that I had to pay and my classes got dropped. And it's like, this is why we're telling you now. This is why we're telling you now. So let's review. All right, we're going to try this again. I don't want to give up on this. I would love to try to play this game. So let's scan one more time. It's 2 questions, literally 2 questions. So let's all scan it. I'm going to scan it too and see what might have happened. Boom. It's going to open up. It's going to show me menti.com. All right. Anybody remember that? Oh, nobody answered. It just went straight to it. All right, so 003612 is our school code. Remember, 003652 is University of Houston. You don't want to put that. You want to put 003612. By when should you submit the FAFSA to meet UHD's priority deadline? I don't know why it's just jumping like that. I did not set this up, for the record. All right? I like Kazoo. Kazoo is much more easier, but I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. I love everybody. By when should you submit the FAFSA to meet UHD's priority deadline? April 1st. All right. Financial aid transfers from school to school automatically? No. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. All right. So I'm going to end this, and now the floor is open for questions. Okay. So the cool thing about being here in person is you get to ask me questions first, and then if I have any Zoom questions, I will answer those next. Okay, so things to know. Yes, this is important. I definitely want to show y'all this. Who's my financial aid counselor? All right, we get a lot of students who email us, I need to talk to my financial aid counselor. I need to give my financial aid counselor a piece of my mind because they didn't give me right? So, who's my financial aid counselor? Every student is assigned a financial aid counselor according to the first letter of your last name. To find out who your counselor is, go to this website, uhd.edu/financial, and click About Us and click Who's My Counselor? And these are the people that work so hard and diligently to get you financial aid every single year. So please, when you email them, send them kind words of generosity and love and sensitivity because they are, I say that kiddingly, but I really mean that seriously. Like, they are working they work long hours. They come in after hours. Like, when I'm clocking out at 5, some of my colleagues are coming in at 5 to come and to work till 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night to get y'all, especially during this time, because this is like no exaggeration. This is really the busiest time every single year. All right. So follow us on social media. Yes, we do have a Facebook. Yes, we are on Snapchat. Yes, we are on Twitter. And yes, we are on IG. Feel free to follow us. We're nice people. Like my mom used to say, we don't have hair on our teeth. We're nice, all right? We're not monsters, okay? So again, please feel free to reach out to us on social media. We answer basic questions there. I wouldn't go on there and say, hey, where's my financial aid? That's not that's not where you do that. Shoot us an email, all right? Our office hours are here. We do have a Zoom lobby that we operate virtually from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every day. We're on campus 8 to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, on Friday rather. This is our mailing address, our phone and fax. We do have an antiquated fax machine. You can fax things to us. And then also email, okay? This is our general email. And yes, we do check it every single day. I think we are right at about 550 emails in the account. And that's starting with yesterday. So people have been emailing us incessantly. Like I said, super busy time. We will get to your email. We will answer it in the order in which it was received. Thank you all so much. I'm going to answer questions. Don't clap yet. Please send questions here in person, and then I'll answer Zoom questions. You first, then you. Yes.
So, okay. So let's say, for example, a student has a payment plan, the deferred payment plan, but they receive money for the Gator Cares.
Okay.
Now, the full amount is distributed into their account. Do they have to use that full amount for the payment plan?
They can use it for whatever. Gator Cares is different. So because of the panoramic, right, the federal government gave a bunch of schools a bunch of money, right? They were like, hey, people are hurting. People need to go to school. They don't want to stop going to school. People have lost their jobs, and so they're going back to school. So we're going to give y'all a bunch of money to give the students to come back to school. That's what Gator Cares is, okay? And we put it all in the student's account. They can use it for whatever. Ideally, you would use it for to pay for your books, to pay for your supplies, to pay for classes, things of that nature. But you literally can use it for whatever. And by law, like, if you're not coming in and saying, hey man, I'm trying to use mine to buy blah, 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 like, we can't tell you anything because it's in your account and we can't fish it out. So to answer your question, you may use it for whatever purposes that further your educational cause. That is the verbiage in the law, and that is the verbiage that I will use today. Yes, ma'am.
What is the minimum amount of classes you have to take to qualify to get financial aid?
Great question. All right. So, question she asks is, what is the minimum amount of classes? Okay. I always try to change that from classes. I'm single-handedly trying to change the paradigm. So let's think of it instead of classes. Let's think of it like credit hours. Okay. So if we're dealing with grant funding, Pell Grant is very interesting. Pell Grant adjusts according to the amount of credit hours that you're enrolled. So if you're in one 3 credit hour course, you are Pell eligible, you will receive Pell Grant funding. It will be very little because it's corresponding to the amount of credit hours, the 3 credit hours. If you're in 12, which is considered full-time, sometimes we say, oh, that's 4 3 credit hour courses, right? Then that is full-time. That is the maximum amount of Pell. If you have an EFC of 0, you will receive the full amount of Pell. That's $6,496 or $95. Half of that goes to fall, half of that goes to spring. So it's around $3,200, something like that. So that's for Pell Grant. Now, Texas Grant, you have to be enrolled in at least 9 credit hours per semester, or you have to complete 24 credit hours within the school year to be able to renew Texas Grant. For loans and for institutional grants, you have to be enrolled in at least 6 credit hours. So you see how it changed? All those different things have different requirements. I don't know why there's not a universal requirement. That's a whole other can of worms, and I don't have time to open. But the thing about it is, I would tell a student, always strive to do full-time. Now, I get it. Some of y'all work full-time jobs. Hey, I work full-time job. But the point is, if you're able to do 6, do that. Because the majority of the aid, you have to be in 6 credit hours. Okay? But remember, Pell changes according to the amount of credit hours. And Texas Grant, you got to be in at least 9. So keep that in mind.
Yes. So I understand that the Texas Grant requires you to have an associate's degree and a minimum GPA of 2.5.
Yes.
For that GPA, is it from the previous institution that you've attended or the current institution that you are now?
the previous institution.
Okay.
If you are a transfer student, we get your transfer transcript rather, and we look at it. 2.5 cumulative GPA, associate's degree, they're eligible.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Kind of adding on to that, Texas grant thing, if, say I graduated this summer, right, from HCC.
Mm-hmm.
Would the Texas grant, can I get it like next year, or would it have to have been now?
So here's the exception. You have 1 calendar year from the date you receive your associate's degree. So let's say you get your associate's degree on May 31st, 2021. You have until May 30th, 2022 to come by our office and say, hey, I think I might be eligible for a Texas grant.
And then I had another one. No, I forgot.
It's all good. No worries. Yes, ma'am.
So, you just said that you have it's a year. What about for people who've been out of school forever? Is there any extra,
Unfortunately, not for Texas grant.
No, I'm not talking about.
Oh, but just in general?
Yeah.
So if you submit a FAFSA and you've been, let's say you've been out of school for years, right? The case is if you submit a FAFSA, right, you are eligible to receive federal funding. If you are Pell eligible, because it's going by your income and your income tax and all that stuff. So they don't trip on, oh, you've been out of school for 10 years, we're going to hold back some of the money because no, they don't do that. It's whatever. Now, here's the thing. If you use financial aid back then, okay, come on, that's what it is. It's like I used some financial aid back then. I had some classes that I dropped and I really, yes, that does follow you. There's no 7 years and after that you're free from that 10 years. No, it stays on there forever. It is for your entire life.
So if you use it up, let's say you have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they told me. But when I came here, somehow when some money came, I don't know how, it wasn't enough to cover everything, but it was
Right.
something. So I don't know how.
So that's the thing. And that's a little bit more of a nuanced question. That's probably something that either A, you can email us about, because it might have been some money you might have got from a different place that wasn't Pell, that wasn't, you know what I'm saying, subsidized or unsubsidized loans. Because those numbers I put up there is very hard. Like, if you are receiving if you're receiving subsidized, unsubsidized loans, $57,500, that is the hard number. The federal government will not allow us to move beyond that. We can't award you extra. We get and a lot of heat from students. It's like, oh man, I was supposed to receive this much in loans and they took this back. It's like, because we cannot over award you. There are certain stipulations in place by the federal government. If we over award a student and they come and do an audit on us and they look at our books and they see that we've over awarded a student, we can be sanctioned for that. And so we have to pay attention to those rules. We have to. So yeah, so you might have got some money. It probably was like maybe a private donor. Maybe they was like, oh, we found some money in the back of a truck and we put it on your account and we want you to come to school. I mean, literally, like it happens like that. But again, I think your situation might be a little bit more nuanced. And so we'd have to have a deeper conversation about that, okay? I'll take one more question from the room and then we'll go to Zoom. Ooh, poet and I didn't know it. Come on, y'all. Come on.
I got a question.
All right.
With me graduating already, I graduated and got my associates in 2012. But can I still apply for the Texas education degree?
Great question. So remember, you have 1 calendar year from the time you acquire your associates to come to us and say, I think I might be eligible. So 2012, 2013, that's the next calendar year. So we are outside of that realm. So to answer your question, unfortunately, no. Great question. Let's go to Zoom. What we got? Ursula.
Any questions at this?
What? Zoom has no questions? Okay. Let's see. Thank y'all so much. This is, if you can't tell, this is really my favorite part of this job. I get to come and I haven't done a presentation like this with students throughout the whole panorama. So like, I'm like,
We got one question.
we got one question, yes.
For the Texas grant, where do I send the earned associate degree?
Great question. So you don't have to send it anywhere because you already submitted your transcript to admissions. And our wonderful Texas grant coordinator is able to type, and pull that up on her computer and see, oh, this student has received an associate's degree. It's written very plainly on your transcript. Great question, though.
One more.
Yes.
Says, I'm a joint admission student and I got financial aid and at HCC I did not. Is that correct?
Oh, okay. Joint admission students. Do I have any students in here? Raise your hand if you're taking classes here at another school. Okay, 1 is enough, 2 is enough. All right. So this is information. If you're planning on taking college courses at 2 institutions simultaneously, federal law says we can only award you at 1 school. But there's an exception. What is that exception? Financial aid has a form called a consortium agreement. Consortium agreement. Consortium?
Agreement.
Perfect. Consortium agreement allows you to submit a document to financial aid that says not only am I taking classes at 2 different institutions, but we, your home school, will award you as though you're taking all of your classes with us. So let's say you're taking, I don't know, 9 credit hours with UHD and 6 credit hours at a different institution, okay? So you'll be in 15 credit hours total. If you don't submit a consortium agreement, we would only be able to award you for the 9 credit hours here, and you'd have to pay out of pocket for those 6 other credit hours. But nobody wants to do that, right? Submit a consortium agreement to us, and we will be able to award you as though you're taking all 15 courses, 15 credit hours here. Okay? Now, with that in mind, the consortium agreement is one of the more complex forms that you have to submit. And when you look at it, it's 3 different stages. The first stage, you fill out. The second stage, your academic advisor here at UHD completes. And the third page has to be filled out by your other, or what's called your host school. Their financial aid department has to fill that out and say that you are not receiving financial aid there. Because if you are, or if you have financial aid that's been awarded to you for the given term, we cannot move forward with the consortium agreement. Okay? If that sounds too complicated, don't worry. Feel free to reach out to us. Go down on the 3rd floor, come talk to us, and we'll guide you through it step by step. Okay? All right, I think that's my time. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. And y'all go on to the next thing. Take care. I'm gonna clap for myself. Hooray for me! Hooray for me!